Okay, I'm going to explain the form factors for SSDs and wireless cards that you can find nowadays in computers. So this here is for SSDs, M.2 SSDs. So you will find there are two types of sockets, This is the more prevalent one. This is the newer. I mean, any motherboard that is 5 years or newer is going to use this type of M.2 socket. This is for either NVMe SSD, either the PCIexpress 2 lanes or the PCIexpress 4 lanes version. However, when you see this socket, this usually will do also SATA. So this motherboard may also do SATA. So if you have an older, a cheaper SATA M.2 drive, it usually will work. However, you have to look at the specifications of the motherboard, because you may find motherboards that don't do SATA. They will always do NVMe if you see this format, but you have to check if it does SATA or not. Then here on the left is the old SATA M.2 drive socket, and this is the actual older version of the M.2, like 5 years or older. When you see an SSD like this with this pinout, this is going to be a SATA M.2 drive. And then when you see this one, this is like a newer, more prevalent form factor for SSDs. When you see this form factor, this is going to be either a SATA M.2 drive, or it may be an NVMe, but the slow version, the PCIexpress 2 lanes version. Okay, this is never going to be the fast M.2 4 PCIexpress lanes. And then regarding compatibility, if you have this type of socket, you can install here either NVMe 2 lanes or 4 lanes NVMe drive. It will work. It may work slower if it is PCIexpress 2 lanes, but it's always going to work. If you install here, for example, if this motherboard doesn't do SATA and you install a SATA card here, it just won't work. You won't damage anything, but it just won't work. Okay, so also regarding the length of the card, the length is usually going to tell you the capacity. This is an unusually long 22/110. 22 is the width in millimeters, and 110 is the length in millimeters. This will usually tell you about the capacity. This is an unusually long one. I mean, nowadays you will usually find a maximum of 2280 millimeters in length for 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes or more. These two at the top are SATA SSD. I had to actually Google these part numbers, because the card itself doesn't tell you if it is M.2 SATA or M.2 NVMe. These two, it shows here that they are NVMe. Both of them are 800 gigs, because probably these two are older cards. Usually with this length, it's going to be nowadays like 1 terabyte or more. Let's see some examples here of older formats. So before M.2 SATA, there was this mSATA MiniSata card that used 10 pins here. Sorry, 9 pins. Yeah, I counted some of these. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't easy to find which one it was. I mean, if it were 9 or 10 pins, I think all of them I saw are 9 pins. But the width here, there is a missing connector here. I think they are 9 pins. They may be 10, but I think they are always 9 pins. This is MiniSata, okay? Then there is Mini PCIexpress, which uses exactly the same form factor as MiniSata. Mini PCIexpress is the previous version, the one that was before M.2 NVMe. It was, that NVMe uses PCIexpress technology. I mean, the actual protocol that the motherboard uses to talk to the device is PCIexpress. NVMe, before NVMe, there was this Mini PCIexpress. Okay, for older SSDs. Here are some examples. Here at the bottom is an NVMe M.2 card. At the top there is a SATA card. It's a wireless M.2 card. It's another wireless card. You can see the key here, A and E, which corresponds to the picture I showed you before. These are motherboard specification. You can see here that this motherboard is able to do both SATA and NVMe. SATA and NVMe PCIexpress 4 lanes in this case. These are two SATA drives. This on the left is an old motherboard with an M.2 SATA socket. This is a SATA M.2 drive. As you can see, it's going to work on any of these two sockets. Okay. This here on the right is the newer universal factor. So usually when you see, as I said, this socket is going to do both NVMe and SATA usually. However, it may not do SATA. You have to look up at the specifications for the motherboard. Here on the right is an M.2 NVMe card. This is NVMe card. This is an adapter. This is an NVMe to USB-C adapter. So it has here 5 pins. Okay. This is an NVMe to USB 3.0 adapter. Again, you can see here 5 pins here on the right. These are PCIexpress 2 lanes. PCIexpress 2 lanes. This is an NVMe PCIexpress 2 lanes. I mean, when I say PCIexpress, it's the same as NVMe. It's basically the same thing. These are Apple. So Apple uses a different form factor. These are PCIexpress SSDs, but Apple doesn't use the M.2 format. They use this proprietary format. These are older SSDs and they are newer ones. Here on the left you can see a wireless card M.2 socket. On the right is an old motherboard, and here on the right is some SATA M.2 card socket for M.2 SATA card. Okay. That's all. Thank you for watching.